We are joined here on the floor of a very noisy convention hall by CBS News Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett.
Band in show business over there. Damn it, they're loud.
All right.
That's for you, the internet. Damn it, they're loud.
Major, so great to have you here. Tell us quickly, before the program starts, what are we going to see here tonight?
Well, the big headliner is Mike Pence, and there's all this scurrying around about it in the Trump campaign. Well, you better scrub Donald Trump's campaign speech. God, he can't have a single word that's even remotely plagiarized. They're doing that. So I talked to the Pence people. They said, well, we have a low risk there. Why? Because Pence wrote 90% of it himself. Pence does have a facility, and he likes to write his speeches. That's not a new thing for him. He did it when he was in Congress. He likes to do it. And his speech will be half about him, introducing himself to the country, 40% about Donald Trump, and 10% about his record in Indiana, which Trump has said is one of the reasons he brought him on the ticket. And I'm sure this audience, especially the congressional Republicans who know or have known Pence by reputation, will find it reassuring.
What about some of Trump's rivals? We're going to hear from Senator Ted Cruz. Is he going to endorse Donald Trump?
So that's the big question. You put that to those within the Trump inner circle, and I know that's kind of a not exactly perfectly round circle. Sometimes it goes like that, sometimes it goes like that. Sometimes it's cleaved right in half. There are different interpretations, and the one I think that is most accurate is, well, endorse is a broad concept.
What?
Endorse is a broad concept, you know? So some people say, oh, yeah, he's going to say the word, and a couple other people say, well, he'll come right up close to it. Look, I think the one thing that is going to be absolutely true about that speech is about Ted Cruz's future. And he is not investing heavily in the Donald Trump future. He is investing in his future. So he'll talk about the Constitution, the rule of law, conservatism as he defines it, the strength of the campaign based on volunteers, fundraising, delegates acquired, and say, but Donald Trump is the nominee and we should respect that, and and then we're going to find some broad concept of endorsement.
Right. I mean, you know, that's the question, though. If he's not going to endorse, why would he accept the invitation to speak?
Right, and why would he submit himself and all these other things that he does legitimately care about to a post-game analysis that is reductionist entirely about not using the word endorsement or not doing something that passes the endorsement test? So I think in all probability he will.
Yeah. All right. So how about Governor Scott Walker?
You know, I expect a workmanlike speech that's somewhat enthusiastic. But look, Scott Walker's from a state where Trump got the bloodiest nose of his campaign season.
Right.
Wisconsin smashed Donald Trump right in the face. But if you talk to Trump people, they will tell you the most important and helpful loss of the campaign. Because it was after Wisconsin that Trump got the message, hey, Corey's not working out. Corey Lewandowski, the campaign manager, who soon exited the campaign after that, and a reevaluation about what Trump needed to do and how he had to think more broadly about his political momentum happened, and it would not have happened after Wisconsin. You talk to real Trump people, they say, you know, if we'd have won Wisconsin, we'd probably be in a world of hurt.
Senator Marco Rubio, a taped appearance, a minute and 25 seconds or something along those lines, Major.
Yeah. It's not even an infomercial. It's barely a good commercial. And it's done from a certain distance that I think tells you everything you need to know about Marco Rubio's relationship to this party, this nominee, and his own Senate campaign. He's trying to stick to his own knitting, dip his toe as quickly and shallowly as possible in the waters of Cleveland and get back to Florida.
You know, can I go back to Senator Cruz for just a moment? Because I remember that day that Senator Cruz dropped out, right? It was a fast-moving set of events where in the morning, Donald Trump implied that Ted Cruz's father was somehow associated with JFK's assassin.
Right.
That precipitated a very strong, strenuous response from Senator Cruz in which he called Donald Trump a number of things: a serial philanderer, a pathological liar, and a narcissist.
Yeah.
How does a person get from there to here?
Slowly.
Yeah?
Slowly. Grudgingly. And with a way to say, we have our personal disagreements, and they curdled the milk, if you will. They really frosted and infuriated Ted Cruz at a personal level. You set that aside and you talk about there are some times in politics where bigger issues have to rise above your own personal inclination. And Ted Cruz, I predict, will say something about the Constitution, the rule of law, the Supreme Court. These things are bigger. And we have to understand we're at a moment where these things are all up for grabs. And this party has to be unified around those principles, those concepts, our orientation to the rule of law, the Constitution, executive power, et cetera, et cetera. And for better or for worse, Donald Trump is our vehicle to protect those things and the future of the Supreme Court. In that sense, I think that's how he gets himself there.
Let's talk about Eric Trump. We're going to be hearing from him. We've heard from his siblings. We heard from Melania.
Yeah.
How is the effort to humanize Donald Trump going?
Well, it will probably take its most personal detour tonight. Paul Manafort and I had a long conversation about this morning. Now, Manafort may be trying to create higher expectations that might ultimately not be met, but he said he himself, and I've never really found Paul Manafort to be an overly emotional person, said he got kind of worked up reading Eric's speech because it's deeply personal about the relationship between son and father and how Donald Trump transformed Eric's life and made him the man he is. There were lots of examples, vivid and otherwise. So it might be the most emotional testimonial to the strength of Donald Trump as a father and a leader to one man in his life, his son. And if that's true, it'll be a powerful moment.
I asked this without any ill intent, but do we know the process of writing that speech? How much of that he wrote? Yes.
Yeah, well, I asked Paul that. He said it's a really great emotional speech. I said, well, let's set aside the emotion. Who wrote it?
That's what
and he kind of gave me this look like, listen, Buster, I've had about enough of those questions.
But it is a legitimate
Like, it's not my fault. Get your house in order, sir. I'll stop asking you rude questions.
Well, and Donald Trump himself tweeted about it today.
Right.
So he sort of kept it alive in the conversation.
And what would a day on the campaign trail be without a bit of Trumpian hyperbole? Melania's speech, the most publicized speech in American political history. So we can set aside the Gettysburg Address. We can set aside I Have a Dream. We can set aside what that's not what you can do for your, we can set aside Ronald Reagan's shining city on a hill. No, we can't. Melania's speech got a lot of publicity. That's a fact. And that's as far as it goes.
What do you think the message is about the House of Trump right now? The fact that this is something on day 3 we are continuing to talk about.
Yeah, well, it's never been a particularly orderly House to begin with. Let us say that as a fact.